Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Burgers with Eric podcast. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Burgers with Eric podcast. Today is Thursday, March 30th. To my right sits the gentle giant, the Airbnb king of South Florida, Eric Weingart.
We're here, baby. Let's do it.
We're also joined today by producer, Sexy Lexi. And our very, very special guest, Tom Beal.
It's going to be fun.
What's up, brother? How you doing, man?
Fantastic. Happy to be here.
Welcome to Be With You. How you doing?
I am amazing.
Yeah?
Yes. How are you?
Good, man. Good. This is podcast number 4. Things are moving along really nicely, man. I'm still having a lot of fun with this stuff, and it's really good. We've had a couple of really good guests. And Tom, just so some of those listening may not know who Tom Beal is. Tom Beal is kind of the guru's guru, the guru to the stars. International speaker, massive following, has had massive success making money online and with his personal development courses and all kinds of things that make him a really good fit for this particular podcast and the content that we talk about, because he's all about mental, fortitude and physical fitness and all that stuff. In fact, Tom was one of the first people that I met in my journey on making money online. So if you guys listen to episode 3, when I first took that job as an affiliate manager, the first person I met in the business, I think it was my first week, bro.
Right.
Was you.
At the comedy club. Remember the bull? Rode the bull at the comedy club there.
Yeah. I damn near
Is this in Webster, New York?
This is Webster, yeah.
Dude, wow. In Webster. So again, another Rochester guy, right? Another Western New Yorker. But yeah, that comedy club, dude.
That was a fun night.
We blew up.
We went hard that night.
Dude, that wasn't even a night, bro. That started at like noon.
Afternoon.
Yeah. Like Tom pulls up in this red Acura NSX, the one with the pop-ups. And being such a car guy, I was like, who the fuck is that? And why are you here? What is this car? How do you have that, right? Because again, my story from last week, penniless guy, like $4,700 to me was everything. And here comes this guy in like my dream car, bro.
That was my dream car.
Dude.
And that actually came when I was working with Mike Filsame. We had reached some level of success. And he's like, so what's your dream car? And I was like, Acura NSX. Like, when are you getting one? And I was like, I can go get one. Like, I didn't even give myself permission to go even research my dream car until that conversation kicked in. So Mike Filsame was the one, like, hey, he was expecting me to say Lamborghini or Ferrari or something like that. And when I throw Acura NSX, he's a car guy too. He's like, oh yeah, those are sweet.
They are sweet.
When are you going to get one? So until that evening, I didn't even give myself permission until he basically asked when I was going to get my dream car, because I came from such a poor background. Like, I didn't feel worthy of even getting my dream car when I had the means to go get it.
Dude, I have a very similar story. Right? So after I was done with where we met, my dream car, and again in Rochester, New York, you got a Corvette, bro. You're at the top, right?
Tippy top.
Tippy top.
I was there when you got that delivered.
Yeah,
I stopped by to have that come off the truck. I remember that.
That's exactly right.
I remember that.
Remember the guy taped it in fucking painter's tape?
Yep.
But no, my story was very similar. I had the money, right? And the guy that I was working for out of Palm Coast, Florida was like, you got the money? And I go, yeah.
Get
He
it.
goes, buy it. I said, what do you mean buy it? He's like, no, you have, I think at the time I had like 30 grand in the bank or some shit. And he's like, how much is it? I was like, I think I paid like 24,000.
It was sweet. That was a sweet ride too.
Yeah, it was Daytona Sunset Metallic Orange, right? And he goes, buy it. He goes, you're too comfortable.
Right.
Go buy it. I said, what? He'll still take credit for my success today because I bought the car and went penniless and burned the boats financially to get it.
Is this the guy that has a name similar to mine?
Yes,
Yeah,
very similar.
Right. So yeah, I know. Right. So anyhow, I remember, and I heard that episode, by the way. You left out the fact that you emailed me while you were still with our old friend. Hey, do you know those guys? I'm like, yeah, I'm good friends with both of them.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, can you put in a good word for me? So I sent them an email and text, putting in a good word for you to make that transition.
Right, bro, that's right.
Yeah.
You forget all those little details, man. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it.
Life-changing trajectory, modifying experience.
100%, man. And again, it's a testament to relationships, man. Like, I knew Eric, but I didn't know Eric. You know what I'm saying? And now it's just, relationships require water. You know what I mean? Water the grass.
Oxygen.
Yeah. It requires a little bit of maintenance. The relationships grow where you water them. So, that's really important. What's your take on relationship building?
Wow, relationships is everything. Like, this is a co-creative situation that we have in life for our health, for our relationships, for our finances. Those are the three that I'm happy to hear you guys are focusing on, because that's what I call my trinity of success. And health is at the base. You got to have health. And it's not just the health looking back at you in the mirror. That's the physical aspect. You need mental, physical, emotional health.
Absolutely.
The relationships are a second component to success. Relationships there's a famous quote, like, if your mama's not happy, you're not happy, right? If your wife's not happy, you're not going to be happy. Like, well, that's similar to business as well. So relationships are your personal, professional, and social relationships. You need to know who your people are. And there's also that quote, in many ways, of the grass is greener on the other side. You hit on a very important point. It's greener where you water it.
100%.
And we've all been down that path in many different scenarios, relationships being one, where whether it's a business relationship or a personal relationship, where that looks more appealing, the grass looks greener over there. Look, in the end, it's people, right?
I can't tell you how many relationships I've had where, and I'm very conscious of it, maybe I had broke the bridge for some reason, right? And it came back to bite me.
Correct.
And it does. And I've learned over the years, because I can't even tell you how many times this has happened now, to where I've kept a relationship, watered it. Didn't necessarily have to be over the top fake about it, but it ends up rewarding me some sort of way by not burning a bridge. So
even the ones that screwed you hard. Like, I'm reflecting when you said that, I've been screwed really hard by friends that were close friends.
Yeah.
Like, how could you do this to me?
Right.
And they did it, and some of them did it and they had some remorse to it, and others did it and they just didn't see anything, like zero remorse. Yeah. And I also had to go through my process of forgiveness. Like, hey, they're people, they're flawed. Like, I believe everybody is, to some degree, flawed in their own individual way, right? Myself included. So people are people, and to have more forgiveness, to have more, what part did I play in this? Right, taking responsibility in the relationship.
Self-awareness.
Right.
Self-awareness.
Yeah.
It's harder. It's harder to do when you're younger. Right?
Correct.
At least for me, it was.
Oh,
right?
it's
in
hard,
my
it's hard
20s,
to
it
do
was
if you're 80
young
years
bull.
old.
Yeah, young bull. And I just wanted to let you know, you crossed me out.
Yep.
Don't you dare ever cross me again. But, in my mid-30s is when I really began to understand the importance and have a little bit of restraint.
And by not burning that bridge and having more forgiveness, like you just mentioned, I too have had that circle back to where, had I burnt it and scorched that earth, that would have not allowed the future amazing things to occur. Like, and this happened in big ways. Like, so definite warranted scorched earth, like, okay, they're dead to me type of scenario. Like, all right, I'm going to work through it myself, refrain from saying and doing things I might regret later. And thankfully, time passed, and this too shall pass, came to be to where that turned back into a very profitable relationship.
Yeah, and let's be honest, you get over it too,
Yeah,
right?
right.
Time heals all wounds.
Right.
So a couple years later, you're usually like, it wasn't worth creating a earthquake anyway.
Correct.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've learned that as well. Just, as badly as you want to drop a napalm bomb on the person that crossed you.
Right.
If you have that self-restraint, Eric's right. Eventually it goes away. That doesn't mean you forget, right?
Right.
And it doesn't mean you don't learn from the things that led up to whatever the cross was.
Right.
Right. But again, it requires self-reflection.
Yeah.
You have to take a look at maybe if you caused that issue,
Right.
or if you didn't.
Right. What part did I play in that? And then, and as you said, don't forget. Well, here's the thing: expect people to be more of who they are. Right.
Yeah.
There was a big epiphany for me when I was going through a knockdown, drag-out divorce a long time ago when we first met.
Yeah.
And we were in counseling, and I kept telling the counselor, like, I can't believe she would say or do that. And the counselor looked at me. He's like, Tom, you're a smart guy. Why do you keep saying you can't believe she's saying and doing that? Why would you expect her to say and do anything different than that? And that was the epiphany for me, like, holy cow, like, why? I'm only fooling myself just because I wouldn't say or do things like that. That's how she's proven herself to be. And this is in that personal relationship, husband and wife, but it's also in business. So remember, hey, I know this person is this way.
Right.
And don't be surprised when they're that way again.
Right. Leopards and spots, and the scorpion and the frog.
I'll give you a cool sports analogy, right? And this is why I think sports are such good parallels with real life, right? Believe it or not, I know I don't look like it with my body type, but I was a heck of a basketball player, right? And I was very creative with the basketball. And I remember when I was younger, I would do these like fancy passes to people, and they might drop the ball.
The Patrick Mahomes of basketball.
There you go. Well, yeah, white chocolate, right? So I would do these fancy passes to people, and I would expect them to be able to have the vision to see it or see the same thing I'm seeing.
Right.
And they would drop the ball. And I remember, when I was 14, 15 years old, and this is my fault, I would always say, why the heck can't you see this? But what I realized is, as I grew older, that some people are capable of certain things and others aren't, and it's my responsibility to be aware of who can and who can't. And now I relay that mindset to what you're saying.
Yep.
It probably is my fault. What did I do wrong to make this situation? What did I not recognize or see? What did I do on my own that's my fault? How did I contribute to this mess?
You hit on two important points that are huge epiphanies for me as well. Like, I used to think other people saw things the way I saw them, and others would think the way I thought. And it came to long, hard lessons learned to what you just pointed out. Like, hey, it's up to me to not be the person who delivers the golden rule. The golden rule is treat others how you would want to be treated. But the platinum rule is a lot of people don't want to be treated the way you want to be treated. The platinum rule is treat people the way they're wanting to be treated, right? So similarly, you're able to now assess, and us as business people and you watching this is very important because you need to speak to your people in a manner that they're able to receive it. You may be at a level that's a little bit higher than, if you're speaking to them at that level, you're going to miss communication with them. You need to recognize who they are and what they're capable of to meet them at that skill set. So that's exactly what you did.
Platinum rule, that's dope. I like that.
Right.
That's cool.
Treat people the way they desire to be treated. Right? And that comes from discernment. It's easy for us because we're in the relationship business for so long, for we can understand and be that chameleon, and a chameleon in a good way. A good teacher speaks to the students in a manner that the students can receive. If you're teaching physics to young kids, you need to speak at that young kid level. You can't teach at the college level. Similarly, in relationship building, you need to assess, just like you did in the basketball. Whoa. And similar to me learning at the counselor, like, of course that's how she's going to speak. Like, I need to see that person's open and I could do this pass. Are they able to sense that this is coming?
Can they receive this?
Can they receive this? Yes.
Yeah.
So if they miss it, that was on your bad for them you thinking they're aware of that being a potential trick shot to them. Right. And it goes right by them because they weren't expecting it. Yeah.
No, that's good stuff. I like that.
I told you, dude.
No, I love his energy.
It's unbelievable.
Like, I could tell, right? Well, just so you know, I'm a big, she keeps me so spiritual and on good energy. I felt your energy when you walked in today. It's so positive. It's so strong. Honestly, I could see it on your Facebook and your YouTube videos last night too.
Cool.
I just wanted to compliment you.
Thank you. And so speaking of relationships, one of the things I also learned, so basically I have an analogy that here we are on Earth as humans, right? So the way that I've helped my high level clients kind of grasp this in a different way, and when I say high level, these are people that had dreams and they far surpassed their dreams. Like, they wanted to become a millionaire and they've done tens or hundreds of millions of dollars, and they get to that point where it's like they've gone to the moon and it's like, well, I was the high school quarterback, that won the state championship, now what? Like, and so I help them reinvigorate and get that focus. So basically I say, here we are, humans on Earth, you far exceeded what you've ever thought was possible. I would have you contemplate this as a possibility. What if this is the greatest amusement park in the universe? And just like when we, as humans, take our family to the amusement park or go with our friends, whether it's for a day, 2 days, or a week, it's over like that.
Yeah, watch this, bro.
It's over like that. Right, so when you're at the amusement park, me and my family, when we get there and the doors haven't opened yet, okay, what ride are we going on first? So, okay, that's the ride. So we all agree, and we go to that ride, and we walk with a purpose there. We get there, and when the ride's done, we're like, what's next? Do we want to ride this again, or do we want to go to another ride? And the key is, at the amusement park, you don't want to ride all the rides. You want to ride the rides that give you joy. And each of us have individual joy. So part of this journey is, the other cool part is, I was of the belief that we had to all have a consensus. Like, all my friends, hey, let's go to this ride. If I was the only one that wanted to go that ride and none of my friends did, okay, I would concede and go with what they wanted to, which bored me. Like, hey, okay, that's cool. You get to an emotional mature point where you're like, okay, that's cool. You go ride that. I'm going to go ride this, and we'll meet up afterwards. That's cool, too. And this is in personal relationships and professional relationships. It's okay to do things together, but it's also okay to, like, great, you want to do that? Go do that. I'll go do this, and we'll meet up afterwards. That's cool, too. But the key is, we know that the day is going to go by quickly. The journey is going to be over before you know it. So maximize it and always continue with what's next? Like, what's next? And so clarity is key on this. Like, and the other part, if you're like, hey, we want to ride this ride, you don't know. You ask people. Like, that's the other part. You put your ego aside. I remember when I first started driving, I didn't ever want to ask for directions. At the amusement park, that's the ride. That's the ride we want to go. Hey, you stop a worker. How do we get to this ride? And they tell you. They tell you the complex. Do this. Do that. Do this. And you forget it. But you just keep But then you get further down the path, and you ask someone else, right? And you continue, and you get there. But then sometimes you get there, and you're like, sorry, folks, the ride's closed. You don't sit in a ball, curl up, and just start crying. You're like, oh crap.
Find the next ride.
Two choices. Should we wait? Do we think it's going to be quick, or just go find another ride? And who knows? We don't want to wait here all day and waste the day, right? Yep. So what's next? What's next? What's next? And the bottom line is this journey is brief, and we all have that amazing gift of being at the amusement park, but we don't know when we're leaving.
So are you talking about, now this is, I'd love to dig into what
Sure.
you do.
Yep.
You know, obviously you have to tell us who your clients are and stuff, but are you talking about someone that's so successful that it's hard for them to feel stimulated?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This kind of goes to what we were talking about
Yeah.
prior to the show with the golfer.
Yes. So this is, I love this. So I'm not a huge golf fan, right? And this goes right along to your point. But I know, maybe who the top 15 golfers are, right? And all my buddies are obsessed with it, so they keep me paying attention to it, right? But my buddy recommended that I watch a show on Netflix. It's called Full Swing. And they basically, it's almost like a little mini documentary of probably 10 or 12 golfers, right? And one of them, and I don't want to put this guy down, but he clearly put himself out there on Netflix. His name is Brooks Koepka. Have you ever heard of this name? Okay. Average is making $69 million a year. He's won a few majors. So he's big time.
Big deal, yeah.
Big time.
Right.
Has a house in Jupiter. It looked like it was $40-50 million house in Jupiter on Netflix, right? So, but you would think someone like that with a beautiful wife has all this success, you would think he's flying high.
Well, also Tiger Woods too. That whole Tiger Woods episode of him self-destructing.
Another good point. Another good point.
In public eye. Like, from the outside, it looks like he got it all. Like, how could you be wanting for more? And there's this. We're all human, right?
Clearly, he wanted more.
He wanted it all. He wanted it all. Right?
Him and Robert Kraft got together.
It's always in Florida. It's something about Florida. But Brooks, this guy Brooks Koepka, it blew my mind. It actually made me feel really good about my place in life, right? Because as wealthy as he is and as successful as he is, he was downright depressed about his poor golf swing over the past couple of years. So whether you're worth $100, $1 million, $100 million, everybody's going through it, right? And everybody's trying to balance.
There isn't a level of success where you're excluded from that or challenges in general, life challenges. So I mean, I also started a company, a corporation back in '04 with Jim Kelly. So and that was a company that was called
the Quarterback.
The Quarterback. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Kelly,
Number 12.
Kelly Media Inc. And we were going to put out Hall of Fame Life, and Hall of Fame Life was going to focus on, I think we had 5 F's: faith, family, finances, friends, and fun, something like that. And this is going back to 2004. But Hunter, his son, passed away shortly before we were ready to launch it. So Jim Kelly, the man, 4 Super Bowls in a row, the man in upstate New York. He was my hero.
Yeah, me too.
Likewise.
And to spend time with him, and I actually interviewed him in his home in Orchard Park, in his basement, and this is where the big parties were. He's telling me all this stuff, and he has an amazing story, very inspirational story. But he was going through so much pain and difficulty with the birth of his son Hunter, born with Krabbe-Luque dystrophy, and had a terminal illness right from birth, and was only told he was going to have this much life, very short life. And so, I mean, there were stories of Jim flying to Hawaii for the Pro Bowl or whatever, and immediately have to get back on the flight to come back. Because imagine getting a text, today's the day, you got to come home, no matter where you are, for years. Yeah. And so that life...
a guy who has everything, who would trade all of that.
Correct. Yep. Right. So no one is excluded. No level of success excludes you from difficulties. And the reality is, you're either just coming out of a big situation, you're in a big situation now, or there's one waiting for you around the corner. And this kind of goes back to what I learned in the military, in the Marine Corps, which, by the way, right now, 30 years ago, I was in boot camp at Parris Island, and I graduated April 2nd, 1993, out of boot camp as the honor man. But I didn't even know at this point. Here we are at March 30th. I didn't know until April 1st, Fool's Day, that they told me, oh, by the way, Beal, you're honor man. I'm like, I didn't even know there was an honor man. But it's like the valedictorian for our platoon, right? Cool. So I was the leader. I was the guide. But that was 30 years ago. I was in the freaking suck of it was hell going on right now. Even 2 days prior to graduating, you're still getting abused right up until you're a recruit until you go through graduation. Now you're a Marine, right? So 30 years ago, that's where I was. But in the Marine Corps, while in boot camp, they said, if someone pulls a knife on you, this is going to be the lesson that will save your life. And the lesson was, when someone pulls a knife on you, the first thing you need to decide if you want to live is, I'm going to get cut. And in my mind, I'm like, screw that. I don't want to get cut. Yeah. But then they continued the conversation, because if you don't make that decision, you're going to get cut. And if you get cut here and you're like, oh shit, I'm cut, now you're dead because they stabbed you or they slit your throat.
So you have to accept the worst case scenario almost. You almost have to get comfortable with it.
Get comfortable right away. So what I teach my entrepreneur clients right now is expect chaos, right? Back when we first met, I was pissed off when something didn't go right, or an email had a first name. I forgot the first name thing is screwed up. Hey, first name. Damn it. Right. Shit happens, right? And if I did it, I'd beat myself up. If someone else did it, I'd ream on them, right? And you want to have standards, but you also have to have the expect to get cut. You have to expect. When I'm speaking on stages, if I'm using any type of technology, expect the technology not to work. And instead of freaking out and getting all bugged out and sweating and nervous, like, okay. You improvise, you adapt, and you overcome. Those are 3 things that you want to learn from the Marine Corps as well. Improvise, adapt, and overcome. So when you expect to get cut, what's that translate to business and life? Expect challenges to occur. Because the day that challenges aren't occurring, that's when we're dead and buried. Yep. Challenges are always going to be there. And a matter of fact, more money, more problems. The bigger you become, the bigger success
realest
you have.
Thing that's ever been said.
How can you improve without obstacle? I mean, it's just...
Life is like a continual
But
Mario
that's him
Kart.
accepting. That's him accepting the cut.
Yes, expect.
Right? That's you accepting the cut.
You expect.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Expect to get cut. Expect the chaos.
Yeah,
so
that's really good.
When it happens, you aren't freaking out and wigging out. Like you're just like, oh, okay, I didn't see that coming. But here's the other thing: you also can trust your kick-ass problem-solving abilities. You're still here. Like you've gone through. If you look back, like, holy crap. I'm still here. How did that happen? Like, I've done some stupid shit,
dude,
personally and professionally.
All the time. There's no way I should still be here.
I know, right? Every day. And I guarantee I'm going to say and do stupid things today, too. Like, and that just continues, right? But that's another one. You have to forgive yourself. And we talked about forgiveness a little bit earlier. I'm really good at forgiving others. It took me a long time to forgive me. That's the first person that...
Well, it can be very uncomfortable. It's an uncomfortable conversation to have with yourself.
Right.
But to that point, I want to talk about uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the green mankini, bro.
Oh, that was just so you know. This was the first video I saw of you.
I want to talk about.
Unsee that.
I want to talk about the green mankini.
I mean, it's bravery at its finest.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
And fortunately, the balls represented. You know, if you're speaking on stage in a green mankini, the penis kind of retracts in. So it was like, hey, I'm a grower, not a shower.
So for anyone, so these guys obviously know what we're talking about. But for anybody listening, so obviously I wanted to research out Tom a little bit before he came on the show. So I think I put into YouTube Tom Beal, and the very first thing that comes up is he's at a public speaking engagement, basically wearing a thong.
Borat mankini.
It's a string one piece.
Borat mankini.
Borat mankini. That's exactly.
And in front of this entire audience, but you know,
500 millionaires. 500 millionaires in the audience. Yes.
Oh wow.
500 millionaires.
Right.
If you get a chance, go check it out.
Well, and the funny part is, y'all have seen The Secret, I'm guessing, with Bob Proctor.
Of course.
Bob Proctor was on that same stage.
No way.
As was Frank Kern and Mike Filsame and Mike Koenigs and Andy Jenkins and the internet marketers. It was actually Frank Kern's cousin Trey who was hosting the event. And so I was in a mastermind called the Syndicate with Trey and Frank and John Reese and Andy Jenkins and Mike Filsame and Eben Pagan and Brendan Burchard, like the big wigs.
Yeah,
like
those were the...
And they're all big known. I'm the only Syndicate member who's not well known because that's when I was having that divorce go on. And I was like, I'm not going to release anything until the divorce is over. And what I didn't know is that divorce would be the knockdown, drag out BS that lasted 6 years. It was a 6-year divorce.
You're talking a personal divorce.
My personal divorce.
Okay, not business. Okay.
Right. And so all of the Syndicate members are known. I'm not, because I made the mistake of waiting. Right. And that's the other big lesson from this is one of the biggest mistakes I made was while I'm in the Syndicate, I'm going to wait till this divorce is over. And my reason was because I don't want to give that bitch half. Right. I don't want to have $1 million launch to give her half. So after the 6-year long divorce, I told my attorney that. He's like, wait a minute. In New York, it doesn't matter if you're divorced or not divorced. You'd still have to give her half. I'm like, what? So the thinking that the rationale I had didn't pertain
Jive
to
with
reality.
reality, right?
I didn't. But in my mind, I was like, I don't want to give her half of the $1 million plus launch. So I'm going to wait till it's over. So my scarcity mindset cost me from being the well-known celebrity like many of the Syndicate members were. I stayed quiet during that time due to that false belief.
So that was the reason for the Mankini to make a splash?
No. So the Mankini, the Mankini, basically, so that was Trey was part of the Syndicate and Frank's cousin, and I was on that stage with Bob Proctor and whatnot, but I wasn't scheduled to be on stage. So basically, I told Trey, dude, I'm going to be at your event in San Diego, and I'm bringing you a Mankini. He's like, dude, I don't have the balls, figuratively or literally, to wear that thing, but if you come, and you want to wear it, I'll get you on stage. So think about it. Bob Proctor's on stage. Frank Kern, all the big wigs are there. I said, so he opened a door in my mind. So and this is another big lesson. When the window of opportunity opens, you got to seize it, right? So he led that, opened the window, and then I went with commitment with consistency. So let me get this straight. If I come with a Mankini and wear it, you'll get me on stage. Yep. Boom. Went to Amazon, bought a Mankini. I didn't have a Mankini at the time. I was just talking smack.
I didn't even know they existed.
Right. So you know how Amazon gives you recommendations, like people that bought this, buy this. Oh, you don't want the recommendations. Right? That stuff that Steve is crazy.
All the stuff in Steve's bedroom.
What?
Drawer two.
Right now it's plastic dinosaurs and little Tykes cars all over the place.
So I show up, and there was an event the day prior to Trey's event that Trey was at, and I say, hey, dude, I brought that Mankini. Oh, man, dude, that's awesome. That's going to be great. All right, we'll figure it out. So the next morning, I get up, I'm walking over to the event. It's at the Hard Rock in San Diego, and I have the Mankini in my bag. And I'm walking out the door, I take a few steps, and it hits me, because I've hosted many events, and I've been speaking on many events, and I'm like, event days go, it's busy. As I keep hitting this thing. So I have hand movements like I'm an Italian or something. Hey,
easy. Hey, take it easy.
Take it easy. So I'm like, wait a second. It's going to be a hectic day. There's not going to be a time where he says, hey, go change into that Mankini. So I go back into my room and put the Mankini on. Now, Steve's witnessed this, but this is my first time with a thong up my butt. Steve's used to that. That was my first time with a thong up my butt. And it's very uncomfortable as a man. Like, I don't know. Anyhow.
No, it looked uncomfortable.
Yeah, right. So then I put my clothes on over it, and now when I get to the event, remember, this is a 500-person event. There's huge amounts of heavy hitters there.
Yeah.
And I see Trey with his team doing a little powwow. And in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to interrupt him with the powwow because I've hosted events. I know you got a lot of stuff to cover before the doors open. I said, screw that. I got a thong up my butt. I'm going to interrupt him. I'm like, Trey, dude, I got it on. I'm ready. He's like, holy shit. You're really going to do this? I'm like, yeah. You told me if I wear it, I'm on. He's like, all right, cool. We'll figure it out. So after
we'll figure it out.
Right, after Andy Jenkins did his presentation, there was a light problem on stage. So I'm just minding my business. Trey comes over, hey, dude, can you go up now? I'm like, sure. Like, he's like, what are you going to talk about? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't think that through.
Does
like,
it matter at this point? I mean,
and he's like, I don't know. What do you think's a good topic? I'm like, how about stepping out of your comfort zone? He's like, perfect. He's like, how long is it going to be? I'm like, how long do you need it to be? He's like, about 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, cool, bet. So I'm in the back. I'm undressing, and you guys may or may not know Glenn Ledwell from Mind Movies. He's highly successful in the personal development space. Okay. Glenn, he's from Australia. He was walking through the door in the back as I was changing. I was undressing. He's like, mate, what in the bloody hell is going on here? Like, don't worry, you'll find out in a minute.
Going to ruin the show.
Yeah. The eyes wide shut room is this way.
Right. So Trey gets up there, introduces me, and we do I get up on stage and talk about the power of stepping out of your comfort zone, which in essence is all life's really about. I know we're married. You're not married yet?
No.
Okay.
Eventually.
Well, and I'm technically not married, but I've been with Wanda for 12 years now, right? Yeah. That's a whole different story. After my 6-year knockdown, drag-out divorce, when I first met Wanda, we started getting along. Hey, by the way, if you're into the marriage thing, I'm not. Like, so, yeah. So we've been. I love her. Like, we treat like we're married, but that's just from the get-go.
Just didn't sign a contract.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you didn't want the government involved in my stuff. Correct. So anyhow. You have to step out of your comfort zone in every aspect of life, personally and professionally. Your comfort zone. So, I mean, think back before you're married and holy crap, she's amazing. Like, if you don't go and approach her, she's gone forever, right? So have the courage to go up and talk to that person. Or, I mean, in business, if you're at a live event. I mean, I was at a live event in January 2005. I look over, and it's Jay Abraham's peeing next to me. I'm like, holy shit, I'm pissing next to Jay Abraham. Jay's like the hero, man. And so, like, you have to have the courage, not then. Like, there's appropriate times, there's inappropriate times. Hey, what's your name? At the urinal, that's the inappropriate time.
You got a free hand there, Jay?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You know how many times I hear this, stepping out of your comfort zone, and I don't know if you want to transition into this at all yet, but I talk to people, and I fluctuate in weight all the time. You know, I put on muscle super easy, so I'll get muscular, I'll lose a little weight. You know, it's always been a struggle, right? Like, I really have to be conscious of my weight. But some guys will sometimes ask you and say, oh, hey, Eric, you know, what's a good gym routine for, you know, building muscle and stuff? You'd be amazed at how many conversations I've had with people that say the reason they don't go to the gym is because they don't feel comfortable.
True.
They're literally out of shape,
intimidated,
and they look like crap, and they're worried about
what other people think.
They're worried about
And
looking
that
like a fool
blows my
because they don't know what
mind.
they're doing. Yeah.
So that prevents them from their physical fitness journey,
Right.
which is
And that's a huge
sad.
point. Like, the bottom line is, we talked about forgiving. It's easy to forgive others. You have to forgive yourself. And in stepping out of your comfort zone, you have to have those hard come to Jesus moments with yourself to forgive yourself. Like, hey, I've let myself go. There was a moment back in 2010 that I looked in the mirror and I'm like, what the hell? I let myself go. I became fat and happy.
Yep.
And I looked in the mirror and I was like, screw that. Like, enough. Like, I'm taking steps. I'm starting to eat healthier. I'm going to start moving more, and I'm going to start taking care of my body in a better way. So anyone out there who has that feeling of shame, and guess what? The shame isn't just body. The shame also is people who've had success and now they're in a dip.
Yeah.
And now they're curled away in a ball like, oh, I don't want to even go out and talk to my friends anymore because I'm embarrassed about how shitty I'm doing right now.
Oh, I know some people like that.
So it's health.
Oh, yeah.
You let yourself go that way, and or your bank account. You used to be known for the guy that's just crushing it to now, like, fuck, I can barely make the fucking monthly payments nowadays, right? And that happens. That cycles. You'd be surprised behind closed doors, even the people with tens and hundreds of millions of dollars, of how more money, more problems. Like, it's larger. It's a larger challenge.
So what do? You obviously look pretty fit, right? So what's kind of your
it's a simple regimen. I do a morning walk. I live 2 miles from the ocean. I walk to the beach and back. It's a 4-mile round trip, fast-paced walk. I set some intentions at the beach, and we have a lot of sex. So I think so that's it. Walk and sex is
that's
really
your hit cardio, right?
Yeah, right, exactly, right. So I mean, I think it's book worthy. How to get fit, walking and having a lot of sex.
No doubt.
It's beneficial for everybody, mentally, physically, emotionally, all that good stuff. So back to the come to realization. Here's the bottom line: you are where you are, and you have to forgive yourself. Look, no one is immune from challenges. No one's also immune from making mistakes or using your best discernment and judgment, and then holy shit, that didn't work out like planned. Like, and sometimes you take your eye off the ball and your health is out of whack. Sometimes you take the eye off the ball and your finances are out of whack. Accept where you are. Like, you need to know two things. If you're ordering an Uber, or two things if you're wanting to get somewhere at a next level in your life, you need to know where you are and where you're looking to go.
Yeah.
And this kind of goes back to the whole amusement park. You're in the greatest amusement park in the universe. Where are you, and what do you want to do next?
Yeah.
Right? So I have a saying that helps me and others just come to terms, and the saying is this: I am me, F you. I am me, F you. The F you is the letter F and the U, fully and unapologetically. And so you just need to look, I'm me, fully and unapologetic. And guess what? I can see from the mirror, I let my shit go. Or I can look at the bank account and see I let my shit go. Yeah. It's time for me to step back into taking responsibility, and I'm me, fully and unapologetically. And what's that mean is I've detached from caring what others think or say about me. It doesn't matter. Right. Has no relevance to me in my life. Yeah. It used to be very important to me. Yeah. I was born to teenagers, raised around 4 divorces and 6 marriages as a child, went to 9 different schools by 8th grade. A lot of chaos, a lot of adversity, a lot of tears were shed growing up. Super poverty, and those were lessons that fulfill the quote, every adversity carries with it the seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. That adversity led me to learn lessons that I wouldn't wish on anybody, but that gave me, I expected to get cut before I even heard that term, right? I just knew
getting gashed open.
Challenges are waiting at every turn, right? As soon as I remembered everybody's name at a school, we'd move to a different school. So I made a decision as a youngster, well, I'm just gonna stop remembering names. And that had to be something that's another lesson. We make decisions a lot as children that aren't serving us as adults. So in sales, I had a hard time remembering names because I made a choice at 8, 9 years old to stop remembering names, because as soon as I remember everybody's names, we move again. Well, that was a false correlation. It wasn't because I remember, it was just the weird circumstances of my life. But we false correlate a lot. And now in freaking clown world, there's so much gaslighting out there. Right. It's exhausting. of people trying to false correlate this and this, and they shouldn't be on the same equation. Like, and the adults are doing this, and they're gaslighting themselves and gaslighting society, which is very draining for people who can see through the BS.
And then when you try to explain that, listen, this is BS.
Now the torches come after you. Right,
it's unbelievable.
Yeah, right.
It's unbelievable. Like, no, are you?
Oh,
so sorry.
gaslighting.
No, I haven't.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I have a debate on this all the time. Sorry, this is kind of going off on a tangent, but I think a lot of times people, they'll get into an argument about something and it's over a word or a term, and they're actually arguing about two different things. They're thinking what is your definition? What do you mean by gaslighting? Because I hear this used in a few different ways.
The term gaslighting, as far as what I've researched, is about someone trying to convince someone else that they're not with it. Like, they're not up. So they would turn down the gas light. They would turn down the light and make them feel like it's still bright, but they're the only ones that see the light is being turned down.
It's when you're arguing a point that you know is true and arguing it to be false.
Yeah, right.
Trying to convince somebody something they know to be true is false.
Correct. Right.
Right.
So yes.
Like, the sky is orange, bro.
Right.
You're a bad wife and clearly she's the best wife in the world, but you're making her feel bad.
Correct.
And really it's you that's created. Is that gaslighting really?
Yeah,
It's
so
you
that analogy, that's exactly summarized. Okay. So them knowing what the truth is,
Right.
but them knowing the truth,
Manipulation.
selling a false
Correct.
truth to the person,
Manipulation.
and making them feel as if, well, that must be true.
The sky is orange.
Correct.
You're a fucking idiot if you don't think it's orange.
And then you bring in other people like, well, of course it's orange.
When your eyes are showing you it's blue.
Right. Right.
You understand
Don't
what I'm
let your
saying?
lying eyes
Right.
deceive
Exactly.
you. Right.
And that ultimately is the problem.
Correct.
And now, where does anybody go to even find abject truth?
Right.
And I'll tell you where I found it. Reddit.
Reddit. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you want actual advice and real things, like real human experiences, go to Reddit.
Yep.
Don't go on Facebook. Don't go on Twitter. All this shit is crazy, bro. Reddit. I found that Reddit is more credible than any sort of mainstream anything.
Definitely don't go to CNN or Fox.
No, right.
The fact that people are even battling about those channels, like, come on, we're both being played there.
Correct.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Well, left and right are two wings of the same
Right,
bird.
exactly. right. We were born into the machine that's been decades and generations prior to us. We were born into so many lies that the lies that we were trained and thought were absolute truths.
Let me ask you a question, Tom.
Yes.
Right? Because I think you got some obviously marvelous insight. Right? I remember. Now I heard on one of your videos last night you were born to two teenage parents. There's no way two teenagers know what the heck how to be.
Correct.
Right?
They were teenagers. They don't. My son's 21, and we just had a talk before I left. Like, we gotta have a talk when we get back. He's 21, and I look back when I was 21. I was an idiot too. I was 20 in the Marine Corps, and thought I knew it all, and I didn't know jack. Right.
But and we'll have listeners ages 16 to 66 on this, right? Because when I was 13, 14 years old, going through it, not even realizing I'm going through it, by the way, right? How like, it's very hard to know that this can actually be an advantageous position for you, because it's gonna kind of propel you one way or the other, right? It might make you, it's like pressure makes diamonds kind of mentality, right? And I think that's what happened to me. So what do you say to someone that's of a younger demographic that's going through it, that it actually can technically be a positive?
All right.
And how can you even be aware that negative can be good at that young of an age?
That's a great question. So, in my experience, it really boils down to discernment. And I'm putting my hand on my heart when I say discernment, because it's not to think with your brain. It's like, what is that? What do you feel like when you're told BS and like something just feels off, right? So you talked about energy. You could sense my energy. Yep. Everything that you're running across, you receive it in a certain way. Does that feel right? Like, first of all, don't trust anything that's being told on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. Yeah. Like, Abraham Lincoln was quoted saying, everything on Facebook has to be true. It's all BS, and there's always agendas behind it. So the news, the acronym for news, NEWS, is negative energy without substance. Negative energy without substance. The news, this is stated fact from CIA agents from 20, 30 years ago that said, we have been manipulating the news for generations. That no one even accepts this. I have people that worked in the news industry that come with me with forks and pitchforks. You don't know. I was there. I'm like, dude, they admitted it. It's clear.
It's called television.
Television, right. So
Programming.
programming, yes.
That one scares me
right.
more.
Programming, right. Continuous programming. So we were born to parents who were programmed, grandparents who were programmed. We're multi-generations of programming, and what we thought was true, just basically question everything, but then trust your discernment. Like what feels right, and don't even trust anything I say or anyone. Like, what feels right, and then go. It's hard to research nowadays because there's a whole term that you want to Google and search, AstroTurf. Look up AstroTurf TED Talk. AstroTurf. There's a whole billion-dollar industry that is to put false agendas out there.
Yeah.
Every agenda has billions of dollars backing to push that agenda. You name the topic, there's a left, there's a right, there's a pro, there's a con, and everyone has this false team out there planting what appears to be real, to include it's a whole network that if you go to research and you don't know, you'll come across, oh, well, this shows that that's true, and this shows that, so you think it's true. It's hard to find the truth because AstroTurf makes it very, very difficult.
And research is paid for.
Research, right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not
100% of the research backs up the people who are funding the research.
Of course.
Right.
But what,
Cigarettes were proven to be healthy when they were being backed to prove that they're healthy. Like
my doctor recommends I smoke Camel Unfiltered, the best cigarette ever for pregnant women.
Right, exactly.
It's just fucking crazy.
Right, and it's all if you follow the money, like, and that's really the bottom line. If
Always follow the money.
And I'm a Marine, and the Marines, I was still in boot camp, and they talk about Chesty Puller and they talk about Smedley Butler. But they talked about Chesty a lot more than Smedley, and I found out just a few years back why. Because after Smedley was one of the most decorated military personnel in history.
Yeah.
Fought in all the wars in the early 1900s that they don't even talk about anymore because it was just colonialism.
Yeah,
it was
World
just
War I
terrible. Well, this was taking over the whole South America and all this stuff.
Yeah. Puller was the man, bro.
Right. Chesty was awesome, but Smedley Butler is too.
I never heard of him.
Smedley Butler. Yeah. So basically, when he got out, he started as a private. He got out as a general. When he retired, the corporations came to him and said, dude, you did such a great job in those wars. He's like, I found out the wars that I was fighting, and we were losing people on our side and killing people on their side, were for the corporations. Right. They weren't for freedom. They weren't for what we thought they were. Sure. So he turned down the corporations that were telling him to go sell more wars. He went on a campaign, and he put a book out and put a tour out called War is a Racket. Yep. And this was in the mid-1930s.
Blacklisted.
1930s. Blacklisted, right. So we witnessed this in our recent history with Ron Paul. Ron Paul was saying, look, you elect me, I'll get rid of all this crap government that's way excessive.
But, Iraq.
Right.
There's WMDs over there.
Correct.
We got to go deliver some
mass destruction.
Some American freedom.
It's all a lie.
No,
right.
It's all
follow
about
the money.
Halliburton and
follow the money. Right. So the wars, Smedley Butler was on point. War is a racket. And guess what? It's not just the military-industrial complex. It's the pharmaceutical-industrial complex. It's the food-industrial complex. The food.
Yeah, it's poison.
It's all right. So anyhow,
so have
or the ability to keep the dollar is the global reserve currency.
Right. Yeah.
Let's be honest, that's what it all boils down.
Which is all a sham to begin. It's all fiat money.
Yeah, it's not real.
It's all fake.
No. Speaking of food,
toilet.
Right. You've been international. Right?
Oh yeah.
You've been to South America. You've been to Costa Rica or Panama.
I actually have not. No.
Bro, I highly advise it.
Yeah.
So we went on a little trip to Costa Rica, right? And then you got a live-in maid and a chef and all that shit with you. And they make you 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Well, one night, we're serving chicken paella. It's like the first time I ever tasted chicken, bro.
The real. Yeah.
Like, what the hell is this? They're like, it's chicken. No. The best chicken wings I've ever had, not in Buffalo, New York, in Panama, at the Red Lion, some little dive bar. They killed the fucking thing 20 minutes before they served it to you.
Yep.
So you're right. Yeah. It's not nothing's real anymore.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. So back to that. So this is actually one of the other things that I teach is very important. I know we're talking health, relationships, and finances. So health. Yeah. So not only are we at the greatest amusement park in the universe and it's over before you know it. So the key is to go for it. Like, get clear on where you are and where you want to go next. What's next? It's all continual. What's next? And if you're joyously creating, it's a fun adventure. But what you don't find, and this goes back to the people that have paid for what some of you may be aware, some of you may not. You can go rent. Like, we could pull money and go rent Disney World for the evening, like, and no one else is allowed there but us. And that's available to those that have the funds. I mean, Tiger Woods doesn't go with the public. No. He rents the whole damn place, and no one else is there but the people he invites.
I never even thought of that. Yeah, that's incredible.
And that's the high level. The level below that is you can get the passes where you pay a significant amount and you don't wait in any lines. They escort you to the front of the line to every ride, right? So you can get through the amusement park within 3-4 hours, right? So there's different levels of that stuff. But back to the a point of your health and food and all this stuff. We know that you can go rent nice cars, you can go rent nice boats, you can go rent nice planes, right? And we're talking yachts and planes and things like this. If a dead billionaire could rent your vehicle of your $1 trillion body, and this doesn't matter what shape you're in, how much you think? And we can go rent a car, a boat, or a plane. A dead billionaire, how much you think they would rent your body for half a day? The answer is all.
Everything.
All. If they could, if Steve Jobs had this way to rent your body or your body watching this, it would be $60+ billion and maybe more.
There's no number you can put on it.
Right.
Yeah.
That's how valuable this $1 trillion vehicle is. But the interesting part of it is so many people care more about their car, their boat, or their plane.
They treat
or their
themselves like
home,
trash.
And they are putting poison in their body all the time. And I'm raising my hand.
I'm guilty.
I just stopped drinking 5 years ago. And I was with a buddy. The same one. But we went out to the comedy club that first night. Jeff, my buddy Jeff.
Okay.
We hit hard. So I was with Jeff 5 years ago. We were in Webster, New York, and we drank hard that night. And at the end of the night, I was like, I'm done. He's like, yeah, we went pretty hard. And I'm like, no, I'm done for good.
Yeah.
I was like, the future that I have doesn't have this. This is holding me back.
No more benefits.
Right. I've been there, done that. Right. I'm just done. And he's like, yeah, right. And it's been 5 years now. And the cool part about it is when you make a decision, I finally understood what Tony Robbins means, where a true decision occurs in an instant. That was the instant. I made many decisions prior to that I didn't follow through with, but that was the final decision. Like, it's over. And it doesn't take any willpower to the drink is calling. No, I have no desire. And that just happened in that decision, that moment.
Do you find that people criticize you? Come on, Tom, have a drink.
Oh, in the beginning, all the time. And I'd be out with friends. Oh, we got you one. We got you this shot. We got you this. Oh,
now
good.
they just know.
Now hey, we got you a water. Yeah. It's just.
I say this all the time. It's so frustrating that our culture is surrounded around these two things. If I want to go hang out with people in general, obviously I could hang out with you guys. We could do a whole bunch of other stuff that doesn't involve alcohol, right? So a lot of it's your circle, obviously, but it just frustrates me so much. It's so much social
food or alcohol.
Food or alcohol.
Shitty food. Try to think of what's there to do for fun that doesn't require food or alcohol. And why? Because that's a lot of people. We talk about the military-industrial complex, the pharmaceutical-industrial complex,
more programming,
the food-industrial complex. What most people aren't aware of is the cigarette companies bought up most of the large processed food companies. The cigarette companies transferred their nefarious ways into the food industry.
Get them hooked on something else.
Right, exactly. It's if you really think about it, and this is big into one of the things I teach my clients is fasting. Right, intermittent fasting. I have a 3-day apple fast.
Yeah,
that I help
I'm going to try that soon.
3-day apple fast is a must, right? And basically what it does is unplugs you from this programming that breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's programs. We were born into that's how life is. Yeah. We're here to fuel our $1 trillion vehicle. When you look at your body as a car, we all like nice cars and stuff. You don't put sugar in your car. You don't put alcohol in your car. You put the highest octane fuel in it because that's what it requires. Well, the highest octane fuel we have for our $1 trillion vehicle is water, not just normal water. You want to get the high quality water and not the shit water in the cities that they're trying to kill you. Like if you haven't realized, Michael Jackson was on point. They really don't care about us. They really don't care about us at all.
I'll give you another cool analogy to jump off your point. I was talking with this guy the other day in business, and did he hit this home really hard. He goes, let's say, for example, you had one car for the rest of your life, a Buick, okay? And you have to drive this car until you're 99 years old. That's when you pass. How often would you get oil changes? How often would you change the brakes? Right. How often would you treat the leather? Like, how would you treat this car?
You're going to smoke in it?
Amazingly. You treat it immaculately.
Immaculately.
Right.
Well, that's our body. Right? And we're treating, most people are treating their body
like shit.
Like the car is infinite.
Right.
And it's not.
Right.
And it's not.
So in biblical terms, they talk about, I forgot what the term was, like it's not a castle, but I didn't relate to a castle when I was a kid, but you can relate to a car. Like, there's a guy around the corner from me that has a $1.3 million Pagani. Yep. That's a pretty kick-ass car. He's got a Ferrari next to it, and you don't even pay attention to the Ferrari when you're looking at the Pagani's a piece of art. Yeah. You treat that with respect. This is exponentially more valuable than that.
No doubt. Yeah.
So treat it with respect. And when you do that, so this goes back to fasting. So fasting removes you from. Basically, we eat out of boredom, we eat out of routine, we eat out of social settings, we eat out of reasons not to fuel our $1 trillion vehicle. So doing the 3-day apple fast breaks you out of that hypnosis, basically. So there's going to be a time when you do the 3-day apple fast. Yeah. Basically, you just eat apples as many as you want during the 3 days and drink water for 3 days. So if we did it today, we do it tomorrow, the next day, the following day, and then the fourth morning is when you break the fast and you do a little bit of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of olive oil in the morning. Anyhow, you'll find yourself on day 1 at the refrigerator with the doors open, and you're like, wait a second. You'll break out of the fog. Wait a minute, I'm not even eating. Why am I here? Oh, I'm procrastinating from that work thing that is mine to do, but I'm trying to, it's lunchtime. Let me go see what's for lunch. You'll notice, so basically when you break out of the matrix of eating, out of habit and boredom and routine and procrastination, you now eat to fuel your $1 trillion body. Like, it's a whole game changer. And now, guess what? Time is the great equalizer. It's only 24 hours, regardless of what level success you reach. You don't get extra minutes or hours. 24 hours. The biggest program that sucks the most energy from us is digestion. When we're eating crap food, that's the biggest RAM that's getting sucked up by
absolutely slows me down.
That's right. So it slows you down. Yeah. So it sucks a lot of your energy to do that. So when you're not eating, when you're fasting and you're eating foods that are properly to fuel your
goes here.
Right. So now so a lot of people, when I fasted for over 20 days before, no food for 20 days. People, whoa, you must not have any energy. Well, the contrary, you actually have so much energy and you're so focused, and it's kind of a hack. Like, this is a true hack to being super productive. You're not spending hours a day eating and or on the toilet. Like, you gain 2 to 4 hours of not wondering what you're going to eat, preparing the food, eating.
Right.
Like, you now have
standing at the refrigerator like
10 to 20% more time in the day than the average person, because you're now fueling your $1 trillion body, and you have more energy, you have more focus. You're now broken out of the matrix.
That's unbelievable.
And you aren't eating out of boredom, out of just habit, out of routine, out of social settings. You're eating out of intention.
Have you ever fasted before, Steve?
No. Tom actually talked to me about that apple fast a while ago.
So whenever I lose weight, that's how I do it. Well, honestly, and to be honest,
let's try it, bro. Let's do it. Next when we get our SARMs, the Cardarine. Let's do the Cardarine along with that.
I love it. We'll do an apple fast.
Guys, we're coming up on 55 minutes here. I want to keep it a little bit under an hour here, but I noticed you brought a book with you, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
What's the book? You want to talk about the book?
Well, this is similar to the topics we've been discussing here. It's called You Are Not Dead Yet. And the bottom line is, we all end up there.
Yep.
Sadly, I was there for my mother's last breath at 52 years old, and my father's last breath at 56, 2 years later. So in 2007, my mom died at 52, diagnosed and gone of cancer like that. Yeah. Healthy as can be. Doctor, you got the big C word. A couple weeks later, gone. My dad, 2 years later, same thing, diagnosed and gone at 56. Fortunately, I was able to be there. Like, had I still been in the corporate world, I had worked for guys that were like, you need to make a decision. Is your family more important or is this business more important? I was stupid enough to think, well, of course, I'm all business.
I'm all in. I'm all in.
Yeah, you need to make a decision. Is your family more important or is your business? Now you'd be like, get the fuck off. Right? So I worked for people that if my mother and father were dying, they'd be like, what's more important, your mother or work? Like, you better get your ass back to work. Like, fortunately, I was in a position where I was able to be there for their last breath, but that was an eye-opening experience for me. They were only 17, 19 when I was born. So when they were 52, I was only 17 years younger than my mom. And when he was 56, I was only 19 years younger. So I also had my own near-death experience where I was in a single-car crash in Geneva, New York, on a back street, rolled 4 times, ejected from the sunroof, laying in a field. Next thing you know, I see someone laying in the field. I'm confused. I get pulled up. It's all bright white light. I had the near-death experience. And I see my sisters. My life flashed in front of my eyes. I see my sisters at my funeral. My sisters are 10 and 12 years younger than me. And this was on September 11th, 1998. So I was just 25 years old. And so they were 15 and 15 and 12 when and I see them crying at my funeral. It made me very sad. Long story short, someone came up, put their arm around me. All the confusion and sadness went away. I knew everything was perfect. Everything was good. Nothing to worry about. We turn. We're now facing these big, huge white doors. The bright white lights coming out, and we start walking towards the white doors. I said, halfway there, I said, stop. This isn't how it's supposed to end. I know you had more for me to accomplish. Send me back. I woke up. I'd been helicopter lifted from that accident scene, woke up in intensive care with a respirator breathing for me, and the doctors told me I may never walk or talk again.
Wow.
I just shook my head. I couldn't talk. I just shook my head. I never pictured myself not walking and talking. Since then, I've won wrestling tournaments. Since then, I've gone on to impact thousands of lives around the world and had 2 beautiful children since then as well. So there was more for me to accomplish. So
I
you
did not know that part of the story.
You're
That's
Not Dead Yet
Yeah. Wow.
is about embracing and getting the most out of this most amazing music park journey that we're in, and going for it, getting clear on where you are personally and professionally, and I wear my shirt. My mantra is make today great.
Yep.
Today is right here and now. You can't change a thing in the past. I've said and done a lot of stupid shit in the past. I can't change a thing. Right here, right now is where our power is. Be here now. And be focused, be clear, and just be that joyous creator that you came here to be. So,
Absolutely. Tom, where can people find the book?
if you go to tombeal.com, there's a whole bunch of great resources there, and including the trainings on You Are Not Dead
You
Yet.
should trademark the real deal, Tom Beale. Have you ever thought of that?
I've had many people call me that.
Okay, well, it's true. It's
The
true.
real
You
deal.
are the real
Awesome.
deal.
Thank you, man.
Been a
Thank you.
pleasure.
Appreciate
Dude, this
it.
has been awesome. Thank you for doing this today.
Thanks for
brother.
having me here.
Always
Had
a
blast.
pleasure to
Yeah,
see you,
had a
brother.
blast.
I appreciate you.
My whole intention in being here was that one person out there got some value, connected some dots. Like, you know what? And maybe it's different. And the cool part is it's different for everybody. Like, and that's like, I am me, F you. Like, someone's going to run with that. Or the Apple Fest, someone's going to try that and run with that. The greatest music park in the universe. It's different for what appealed to you, but watch it again, and I guarantee you something different will resonate.
Oh, you
next
hit me.
time.
I'm taking a few of those home. All
Sweet.
right.
Nice.
So you hit me.
Nice.
You
Cool.
impacted me today.
Cool.
for sure.
Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. New episodes of the Burgers with Eric podcast every Friday on Spotify or wherever you get your